It takes it. It takes them. All right. All right. Hello, everybody. We're live. This is Nerd Side Champs. Week 8. We have wrapped up our Agatha All Along coverage. That handsome man you see next to me is not Tim Collins. That is Jason. Jason is filling in for Tim, and he's our special guest this week. And with the conclusion of Agatha, we did realize that last week on October 30th, we reached the 12-year anniversary of the purchase of Lucasfilm by Disney. And so we're just going to address it. It's been 12 years. Have they managed to kill it dead in 12 years' time? That's the question.
It's pretty close.
It's pretty close. We've got some comments. We'll get caught up with those. Tim has weighed in. He goes, the show is significantly less attractive tonight. Can't put my finger. I think we got way more handsome by at least 50%.
Oh, I do too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think Tim has gotten a little delusion. And then what is it? Star Wars was dead long before the acquisition, but any hopes of rebirth are not completely shot. Now, Tim and I both are not prequel fans. That I will say that I'm not a prequel fan, but I believe it was wounded. It was wounded before the acquisition. There was life to be had. I don't know. Barry Allen, Disney has given us one unbelievable scene from Rogue One, surrounded by hundreds of hours of burning alpaca dung. Barry Allen is slow, is always early. And then does Disney ever do a crazy IP crossover with Marvel and Star Wars? It would be the ultimate sign that they really are just out of ideas. I think there are other signs, but
oh yeah. I would make an argument that Guardians is a kind of better Star Wars than Star Wars in some ways.
Yeah, Guardians had a very Star Wars feel, but a more meta, more modern Star Wars. Like Disney keeps saying they're making Star Wars for the modern audience. I feel like they already made Star Wars for the modern audience. It was called Guardians.
And it was amazing.
It was amazing. And then, like, when you make Star Wars, just make regular Star Wars. It doesn't have to be for the modern audience. It could just be Star Wars, you know?
I told you I had a hot take. I have a hot Star Wars take. I liked what they were doing with the first two in the new Disney trilogy. The idea of how things are very similar, but they're different because it's different people. And then having the guts in the second one to say, no, Rey's a nobody. This doesn't have to be anybody special. The Force just chose a different person. Like, I thought that was cool. I love that idea. And of course, by the third one, they just destroyed it. But I thought it started out strong. Like, I think The Force Awakens has some cool stuff in it. Like, and it's a cool idea of, like, yeah, things are the same, but they're different. So, I don't know. I liked what they did in the first two.
I think Tim's going to come. He's going to find his way to a photo and try to, because I think that The Last Jedi broke his brain. I think he's still upset about it. But
well, I mean, I wouldn't have written it that way, but I thought it was at least a gutsy thing to try. You know what I mean? Like, to just be like, oh, she's nobody. Like, I like that twist.
My hot Disney Star Wars take, we'll start with the hot takes, is not that the first two were good. My hot take is that The Last Jedi is not the problem. Everybody hates Rian Johnson. Everybody hates The Last Jedi. I say The Force Awakens is hot, steaming garbage. And it's a foundation of crap. And I think The Last Jedi was actually better than you could hope for, building on that foundation. I feel like they did some interesting things. And you know, I like that movie better than The Force Awakens.
I'll go that far. I think a cool thing that they should have done, you should have Leia driving that ship that destroys the Galactic Cruiser. Like, what a great way for that character to go out instead of just CGI monstering her in the last one.
there were so many missed opportunities, and the thing that we can never forgive Disney for is that they never got the big three and what I consider the big four, maybe five, together on screen. So the big three are Luke, Han, Leia. Now, of course, Chewbacca is part of that. And to me, by the end of Return of the
Han.
Yeah, but to me, by the end of Return of the Jedi, Lando Calrissian is part of that group.
Oh, I would have loved to see Lando.
Yeah, and they didn't even think of bringing in Lando until some like some backhand thing in the last movie. They went to a gambling planet on the Last Jedi.
Yeah,
and like when they say
all that.
Yeah, I got excited. I thought Lando was coming. And then he should have owned that planet or at least been there. But no Lando. Here's Tim. What's Tim going to say? I'm as salty about The Last Jedi as the sand that turns red in the final battle.
That sand is salt.
Yeah. So he's that's pretty salty. He hates Last Jedi like Anakin hates sand. But
it's coarse, it's rough, and it gets everywhere.
Yeah. So I comprised the list, and this was hard. Okay. I thought I would just get this out of nowhere. So October 30th, 2012, $4.05 billion. Disney buys Lucasfilm. And if you run into somebody who says they weren't excited when that happened, they're a liar. You can't 100%. Trust them about anything else, because I can just set the stage for you. In October of 2012, Disney had acquired Marvel in August of 2009, and the Avengers had just been released in May of 2012. So Disney had owned Marvel for 3 years. The Avengers had just came out. Disney had bought Pixar in January 2006. And the most recent Pixar movie had been Brave, which was in June of 2012. So Pixar was still on a streak, starting with Toy Story and running all the way up through like Monsters University there were no duds. It was all killer, no filler from Pixar.
Wow, what a run.
Yeah, so Disney had bought both of those, and they were flying high. And when they buy Star Wars, and the last thing you saw with Star Wars was the prequels, which, I'm not a prequels fan, and there were a lot of people, now that Disney has had it, people like the prequels a lot more.
Yeah, the prequels maybe weren't so bad.
Yeah, so like in retrospect, it's looking better. So, but the first thing that happened was Clone Wars had been running on Cartoon Network, and season 6 of Clone Wars got dumped on Netflix because Disney couldn't get along with Cartoon Network, and they canceled Clone Wars. So you're already off to kind of a bad start because people like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you watch Wars?
I watched some of it with Abigail, but not really enough for me to be able to comment on it.
I feel like Clone Wars did a lot of work repairing our view of the prequels because it's set in that time. Yeah. And it kind of makes those stories make sense more than they did in the movies. So, here's what's Tim. South Park tried to warn us about the acquisition. We were all still high from Avengers and couldn't see it. Hey, you guys get to work. I don't know this around here. The Jonas Brothers. Where are the damn rings?
Where are the rings?
So let's see. They started. So then October 2014, we've got Rebels season 1. 2015, we had Rebels season 2. So a new cartoon starts. They're not really telling us much about what they're going to do because that's all set during the same time as the original trilogy.
It's all kind of prequel-y.
Yeah. And then the first park thing they did was the Star Wars launch bay. That came in November in Disneyland and December at Disney World in 2015. That was kind of like a walkthrough experience. I guess it's still running. I haven't been
or it was when I went.
Yeah. So I haven't been since
that's
like
where the Jedi Training Academy is.
Yeah. Yeah, the Jedi Training Academy. My son was actually one of the kids that when I got a million pictures because we had the photo pass. But they changed the name of that. It's called like Temple Challenge or something. Something more tied into what they do now. But so they did that.
The Jedi are bad guys. Wink.
So December 18th, 2015, we got The Force Awakens. And the box office exploded and everybody went crazy. So here's what I will say about The Force Awakens. And I thought that a lot of people, I thought I was in the majority. I think I found out Tim was. I was never a Luke Skywalker guy. He was not my favorite character in Star Wars. My favorite character was always Han Solo. He was cooler. He was smarter. He had the Millennium Falcon. He got the girl.
He shot first.
Don't let anybody tell you he didn't. He did and always has shot first.
100%. Yeah.
So I know they got Harrison Ford back for The Force Awakens. But somewhere between the end of The Empire Strikes Back and when they shot Return of the Jedi, Indiana Jones had exploded. I think Raiders was shot before Empire or maybe right after.
I believe it was before. I could be wrong about that, though.
But it grew in popularity because Harrison Ford still liked Han Solo when they were doing Empire. You know, he was still taking notes. The part where she says, "I love you," and he says, "I do." That was his line. He wrote that. That was an improv. But by the time Return of the Jedi came out, he did not like Han Solo anymore.
No, he begged to be killed off.
Yeah, he went to George and he wanted him killed, and he thought it would be better for the movie. But I think he just really was sick of the character. And watching Force Awakens just lets you see how sick of the character he was. Because I felt like it was a character assassination. So not only does he die, but he's a buffoon. He's lost the Millennium Falcon gambling or something. I mean, he loved the Millennium Falcon. He would never lose. He's run off. He's not with Leia. He's abandoned his son and his, I don't know if they got married or if they didn't, but they formed a family. He's abandoned that. He's still just some smuggler and not a good one. He was a general by the end of Return of the Jedi. You know? So,
absolutely.
I mean, that would be like a general in the Revolutionary War. It would be like John Adams or somebody like, 15, 20 years after the American Revolution, just like being a smuggler, smuggling, trying to get around taxes or something. It's just so silly.
It really did kind of kill like his arc in the first three. Like towards the end, I felt like, okay, he's gonna still have that rebellious side because he's the most punk rock out of all of them. But he's gonna settle down. He's gonna be a dad, or marry Leia, or whatever's gonna happen. And it just kind of undid all of that.
Right, and I feel like they undid not just his arc, but the whole. Leia is still fronting the resistance, which is just the rebellion. But it's like they already won. Why are you like a ragtag group of resistance fighters when you like the New Republic exists?
Yeah.
Why is Leia not in charge of like the New Republic Navy to fight the First Order? Like why are you the underdog? You won the whole thing at the end of Return of the Jedi.
That's a very good point. Also, I think the idea of it just being another giant galactic force that's taken over the world or taken over the galaxy is really, really stupid. Because, like, Anakin didn't bring balance to the Force. It undoes everything that Anakin did, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll talk more about how much Disney hates Anakin being the chosen as we work our way through this list.
Hates it.
Yeah, Tim, I 100% commented that just to hear Dan's Mickey voice. Okay, let's all get back to work now. Barry, Force Awakens was just a shot-for-shot remake. Mysterious main character with no known background. They visit a weird space gangster bar. Old guy dies over reactor. Giant base is blown up, etc. I mean, that J.J. Abrams has no original ideas. I think. Do you think? I mean, I don't know. Alias was okay.
I like Cloverfield.
Yeah. J.J. Abrams is all build up and no delivery. Like he has
lens flares. That man loves lens flares. Like you read about.
Yeah, he has no idea where this is going. You know what I'm saying? Like he always sets it up, and that's what he loves. But like, you know what? Do an outline, man. Do an outline.
Yeah.
Figure out what
so
the
that
end
way
is.
you don't get the end of Last Jedi and then Disney being like, "Oh, I don't know how to land this."
Yeah. Before you start at the end and work your way back.
Mm-hmm.
But he will not learn that lesson. Like he did what Lost. I haven't watched Lost. That's the thing that I got really behind on because my kids were young at that time.
Yeah.
And I'm glad because by the time it ended, everybody was so angry. I was like, well, I saved myself from that. You know, I didn't get all the. Well, go ahead.
It was okay. I predicted it in the first season. I was like, yeah, they all died in the plane crash. Spoilers.
So, yeah, it's been like what 15, 20 years, but
oh, don't say that.
Yeah, no, we're old. I'm old, but you're old too now.
Yeah, I watched that in high school.
Yeah. So the Force Awakens, they didn't have original ideas. Kylo, the way they had introduced him, he was so impressive when he stopped that laser bolt in midair.
That was cool.
But then immediately, as soon as he took off the mask and started throwing hissy fits where he just smashed stuff.
Yeah, that was stupid.
He lost all credibility as a threatening villain. Like Darth Vader killed admirals when he was upset. He didn't smash consoles.
He didn't throw his helmet.
Yeah, he didn't throw his helmet and smash a console. He like killed a man dead and calmly walked away. That's what Darth Vader did, you know?
Also, Rey being good at the Force simply because she's Rey is stupid. Like, that's a big problem I had walking out of it. I was like, no one just figures out they can control people's minds.
Yeah.
Like,
but if the hissy fits and the mask coming off wasn't enough for you to be out on Kylo, the fact that Rey kicked his ass by the end after like no training at all. Yeah, she just like kicked his butt and they flew off, you know. So
I'm reminded there's a scene in the a horror movie that came out this year called Abigail. Did you watch Abigail?
I haven't watched it, but I did see the I know what it is.
It's super fun. But there's a line in there. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a line in there where it's two vampires fighting.
Yeah.
And one of them tries to do like a mind control trick. And Abigail looks at him and is like, "Don't you know you have to have been doing this for thousands of years before you can get to do the cool stuff?" So that's what Rey was just like, "I'm good at everything, guys. I can fly."
Yeah, the ultimate, like just like, oh, I have force sensitivity. Watch this, boom.
Oh, we'll get to flying later.
Yeah. No. God. So the Force Awakens comes out, and I'm a man on an island because I'm not enjoying Disney Star Wars, and everybody else is just giddy.
Yeah,
and then
I was giddy. I liked it.
Yeah. So, and I keep mentioning the park stuff because this is where the money is for Disney. This is why they bought it. Is not for making movies. The movies is so you'll go to the park. So,
absolutely.
Let's see, this is June of 2016. They do the Star Wars Launch Bay in Shanghai. Now, that's another thing. Star Wars has not performed well internationally. I think even the movies, like the Chinese audience, since the originals are from the 70s, they don't have the nostalgia. it's not like Marvel. It really, that's the thing that Disney hasn't gotten the payoff that they wanted, is that it's not big internationally.
Here's a hot take. This also might be a very hot take. Certain governments might not like the fact that people are watching a movie about rebels rising up against an oppressive government.
Yeah, they might not think it's.
I'll put it that way.
Yeah. People rebelling against an oppressive government isn't baked into the foundation myth of every culture like ours.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Speaking of which, if you just after this, you should look up the Chinese government ending of Fight Club. It's incredible.
Oh God, I'm gonna have to watch that Fight Club. Is he not
Sorry,
even?
We got off topic.
Okay, let's see. What do we got here? I feel like Adam Driver could have acted much better than the role was written and directed. I mean, I've seen him in things. I think he's good.
Yeah, 1000%. He's got a real good dark side. And for the first 35 minutes of Force Awakens, he's great.
Yeah.
Like when he's catching the laser beams and all that stuff. And the first 35 minutes of that movie, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah. But then when the director says,
with like the bloody handprint.
Yeah. When the director goes, now this is the scene when the girl that was a scavenger yesterday kicks your butt. What do you do with that? What do you do with it?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you sell it? And so they got they did the launch bay in Shanghai. So we don't know what that is because have you been to China? I haven't been to China.
I was in Hong Kong for like 24 hours one day.
Oh, hey, were you on your way somewhere else? Where were you going?
I was going to Penang, Malaysia.
Oh, geez. You've traveled.
Yeah, I was an English teacher there at a camp.
That is cool.
Fun. It was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm.
So after that, 2016, the next film thing they did in September 2016, we got Rebels season 3. Again, Rebels is a pretty good show. Again, that one is not really. I like Rebels because it's not ruining any parts of the timeline. It's interlaced within the original trilogy, and they're not changing what happened. They're just like giving you a fuller picture of it, and they're not doing any character damage.
Changing things in the original trilogy as well.
Yeah. So now that is followed up in December of 2016 by what many, and I think I would consider the high watermark of Disney Star Wars. This is when I regained hope and got my excitement back. Rogue One came out.
I love Rogue One. I still think it's a fantastic movie. The greatest Darth Vader scene I've ever seen on film.
Dude, yeah. When the lights go out and the lightsaber comes on, it's just
you hear that.
Oh. Yeah. Oh.
And I love there being characters that have nothing to do with the original Star Wars. Like they're not relatives of somebody. Like, it's a big galaxy. I would love to see what other people are doing in it. So,
and that's, I think, up until recently, Disney was doing their best stuff when they didn't touch any of the established characters. When they got a whole new character, kind of away from the main line. Like Rebels was good, Rogue One was fantastic. This is all happening at that same time, but we're not interacting with Luke, and it's good. It's a wide galaxy, and you don't have to be with these same people all the time. So, and I liked in Rogue One, they had a really interesting concept of I forget what the name of the group was, but they had these guys that adhered to the principles of the Jedi, but they weren't
Jedi.
They weren't Jedi. They weren't force sensitive, but they adhered to it like a religion. They were like monks, and I thought that was a great idea. Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, if these guys are the guardians of peace and tranquility throughout the galaxy, and they have this philosophy that they live by, it would just make sense that other people would adopt that philosophy, even if they weren't force sensitive. I mean,
exactly, like another denomination of it, basically.
Yeah.
Like if it were like a church or something. Yeah. I thought that was interesting too. I mean, it went nowhere, but it was interesting.
Yeah. And now I will, like, if somebody jumps in on the live chat, or if you hit me in the hit us in the comments later, I'm sure they've explored all this in depth in some of the novels and the comic books, but the list
those aren't canon anymore.
Yeah, well, they've done a whole bunch of new ones since Disney bought it. But I mean, I had to limit the list somehow. I couldn't list all that. And the other thing is, since Disney bought it, I feel like the job of the comic books and the novels is just to hand wave and explain away some of the mistakes they make in the movies and make them better than they really are, you know? So
1000%.
So we follow up Rogue One with Rebels season 4 in October 2017. And then here comes the part where the bottom falls out for most of the fandom. December 15th, 2017, the release of The Last Jedi. And
parts I really liked. The casino planet is boring. I hate all of that stuff. But I thought it was, like I said, I left the theater being like, holy crap, they made her just a nobody.
Yeah.
I think that's a great twist. Like,
yeah, I did. I liked that she wasn't supposed to be anybody. She wasn't tied into anything. You had all these visions that maybe she was. But, like, you know, in all the prequels and all these things, the Jedi are scouring all over the place looking for force-sensitive people. So, like, not everybody that's force-sensitive is of some lineage that, you know, has been force-sensitive for generations. So the idea that everybody has to be somebody's niece or granddaughter or daughter, you know, that's just all kind of, you know, and so the idea that she was nobody was good. I was not thrown off by the idea of Luke as a hermit. Like, it didn't kill me. I didn't like.
I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
Now I don't. Here's the issue. There is something gutsy, but I don't know if I like it. Where when you have this great last shot of A Force Awakens, where Rey's handing Luke the lightsaber.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really dumb to start off your next movie by having Luke throw the lightsaber away.
That's too cute by half.
Yeah, and that's a slap in the face. Like, for like how many years was between Force Awakens and Last Jedi?
So The Force Awakens was 2015 December, and it's 2017. So it's 2 years people have been waiting to see what he does.
And you just have him chunk it away. Like, I was like, that's not a good start.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I could get the idea of him PTSD and being traumatized, but playing the beginning for laughs just takes the air out of all of that.
Yeah. And then you have the Porg stuff, which is, you know.
Yeah. And then we get more of Kylo Ren, my least favorite Disney princess.
He breaks the only thing that makes him cool.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking about it. Maybe I don't like The Last Jedi as much as I did.
Yeah. So like Kylo Ren, and they did it in the Legends books, but I was never a fan of the idea of Han and Leia's son becoming a dark side, becoming a Sith or a Knight of Ren, or following invaders. I don't know. It's just George didn't pay a lot of attention to the books, but when when Harrison Ford told George he wanted to die, he was like, it's not that kind of movie. You know, he's like, this is not that kind of story. So the idea that their son becomes evil, and it's not that kind of story. This is, you know, an uplifting story where you feel the peril, but you know it's going to work out for your hero. So that totally doesn't work out for our hero.
Also, when you just have the same family members, it makes your galaxy feel super small.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, literally, there could have been anything. Apparently, we'll later find out that there were witches making each other pregnant with the Force.
So yeah, like you could have one of so, and again, you go to a gambling planet and do nothing there. And I don't know, did you lose Billy D. Williams' phone number? I mean, what happened, man? Why is Lando
We had to have that important. We had to have that important love story. Lando would have just messed that love story up.
Well, and people liked Finn in the first movie, and he was an interesting character with interesting places to go. And they played it up like maybe he had a shot at Rey. But now they have to just, probably international something, probably because he was black and she was white, and
which is stupid. That is a stupid reason not to do something.
Yeah,
so especially considering some of the other choices that they make in this series later on.
Yeah, so you send him on a side quest, and now he's wasted. So again, The Last Jedi, to me, I didn't know where you were going to go that I was going to like after The Force Awakens. So my expectations were rock bottom. So I walked out like,
that might have been me too.
Yeah, I was just like, well, hey, whatever. So, but on retrospect, it's really, there are a lot of big problems, I think I didn't feel the problems because I hated Force Awakens so bad that good things they did with Rey flew over my head because I didn't care.
Yeah.
Bad things they did with Finn flew over my head because I didn't care because I didn't like the Force Awakens,
But you got to admit, using your ship in hyperspeed is pretty cool.
Yeah.
As a weapon, that was cool.
Yeah. There was, so there was that, and then Leia is just wasted in that movie. Like the first two movies, she's there, and like they say their plan. They say their plan was to highlight. The first movie was about Han Solo. The second movie was Luke. The third was going to be Leia's movie. That's retcon. They made that up because they didn't have a plan. They didn't have a plan.
Did not. No,
so
they didn't.
You can't tell me the plan was to center around Leia in the last movie because I know you didn't have a plan. So they just couldn't figure out what
who Rey was when they started. You could tell.
They're
just bad storytelling.
They're just throwing crap against the wall. And so they follow up The Last Jedi 5 months later. Just 5 months later. May 10th, 2018, Solo comes out.
Oh my God. Do you have an hour that I can rant on this one?
I don't got, you can go ahead. Let me know.
This is the first one that I left the theater mad. Like, there were 3 times I nearly got up and walked out. Like, okay, you know me, because we had this when we did the Nerds Champ video on Halloween. I'm a big fan of like not having to know everything about a character for me to like them. But like how he gets his name, how he gets his vest, for God's sake, is in this movie. Like he couldn't just be like, my vest looks cool. We have to have a backstory for it. We got to know about the fuzzy dice. There's the robot stuff that is weird. Can we agree that's weird?
It's a little off. Yeah. The robot rebellion stuff is a little out there.
I was just like, am I really watching a robot love story?
Yeah. I'm trying. Did we get a chin scar origin in this also? The origin of the scar on his chin. Did we get that in Solo, or is that just a Indiana Jones Last Crusade?
Oh God.
Because I think we got
word about Indiana Jones,
but they over-explained everything. Let's see what we got here. Well, we got more comments from Paul Bettany and Emilia Clarke were wasted in Solo. Yeah.
I left with such rage that I didn't even know they were in there. I cannot tell you. They made the Kessel Run seem stupid. Like, how is that possible?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they had to cross off every little thing that ever happened. And I actually didn't think it was terrible. It's just a bunch of fan service. And it
when
did
they got
horrible.
to the point where when they got to the point where he was like, "What's your name?" and he's like, "Han," and the guy's like, "You're by yourself? I guess I'll call you Han Solo." I groaned in the theater. Like, I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah. Yeah, like he could just be his name. You know, he could just have had that name. You know, it's just not that.
Yeah,
You know,
he could have just been called Han Solo. Like, we don't
yeah,
have to know why.
and yeah, and so it tanks. I would say a lot of the reason that it tanked is probably still the fans were really mad about The Last Jedi. So they were all out.
Fans
I mean, it's
are
only
still mad about Last Jedi.
yeah, so it's only been 5 months. Let's see. Barry Allen is slow. Solo was the first Disney project where they tried to marry animation, video games, and cinema into the same universe. It was a terrible decision. So yeah, but where did the animation tie-in was? I'm not sure.
Darth Maul comes back at the end. You remember he's got spider legs.
Oh yeah, and he's got all the stuff
from Rebels.
Yeah, all that from Rebels, and then I don't play any of the games, and
I
so
don't
like
either.
That's the thing. Disney doesn't understand with any of their properties. If you're going to do important plot developments that are going to be part of a $1 billion movie, you can't roll that out in a video game or a Disney Plus show that only like
or just bury it in the beginning of a Fortnite game.
Yeah, that's just not going to work, man.
Major plot point. A major plot point for the what is the Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah,
place in a Fortnite game.
I was like, that's not even. It's not Star Wars. It's just like it's so crazy that they think people are going to know this crap. It's just And so
I had to YouTube it. I had to YouTube that to get it explained to me. I don't play Fortnite. But
you're like, did I miss something? Oh yeah, I did. I missed a big thing.
When they start the crawl of that movie, they're basically like, "Listen, the dead are talking. You're just gonna have to get on board with this or not." Like that's literally how the crawl starts.
Yeah. Oh God. So, Last Jedi alienates everyone. 5 months later, Solo loses all kinds of money, and then 5 months after that, October 2018, we get Rise of the Resistance season 1, which was a show that had a different, Clone Wars and Rebels had a nice cohesive animation style. The tone was the same, the creative team was the same, and it all felt like it was of a piece. But then you get Rise of the Resistance, and you get a whole new style. And it just, I don't know if people even watched it. I saw some of it.
I didn't.
Yeah, it was just, and the thing is, you're already doing work in these shows, and by this time they're doing movies and books, trying to fix this sequel trilogy. Because I mean, already in The Force Awakens, you're having to figure out how did they go from winning the rebellion to being this little resistance, and how is the First Order so powerful, and did they just take out the whole universe with that Starkiller base? How many planets?
Well, they have that redheaded general.
Yeah. So it's just so you're already having to do work, and I feel like that's what the Resistance was about. And then in May of 2019, so this is 7 months later, Galaxy's Edge opens in Disneyland, which is the whole Star Wars themed land. And that opens with Smuggler's Run is the big ride, which was probably at that time going to be, I mean, because it's the Millennium Falcon. And I feel like I haven't wrote it. It's probably more of a like an OG trilogy Millennium Falcon experience.
That's what the vibe I get from it. I'm writing it in April. We're actually going, so
you
I'll
have
report back.
But I feel like in the design phases, this was supposed to be a solo themed ride.
Oh,
you know what
God.
I'm saying? They probably weren't going to center it around the original trilogy because, so the Smuggler's Run opens with Galaxy's Edge, and Galaxy's Edge, here's where they start making big mistakes. So you're 2 movies into this sequel trilogy that people aren't digging after The Last Jedi. And when you start rolling out your parks attractions, it's not based off the original trilogy. It's not based off the prequel. It's all sequel trilogy stuff. It's all first order.
And nobody likes that.
Yeah, it's all first order. It's not the Empire. It's not the Rebellion. And like it's just so lazy. Like I had to actually look up what the first order was called. I mean, look around at all my Star Wars crap. I forgot what the first order was called. I was like Empire Light, Empire something. What is this cheesy Empire knockoff that they have?
It's true.
Yeah, I remembered Resistance because they both start with R. It was easier.
Yeah. It's not good. Like I said, I haven't been to Star Wars Land since they've, done all of it. We're going in April, so I should have a better view of it. But from what I've talked to everybody there, that's been there, most of my friends did not enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was May. They do it in California. August, they do it in Florida with the Smuggler's Run and the Galaxy's Edge. And it's not what it should be. It's just, And then they follow in October with Rise of the Resistance Season 2. We didn't watch that. And then finally, we haven't had a ray of sunshine since Rogue One in December of 2016. So it's been dark times for Star Wars fans.
And it's about to get darker.
November 12th, 2019, Disney Plus launches as a service. And day one, one of the big launching points for Disney Plus, Mandalorian Season 1 comes with it.
Fantastic. I love Mandalorian Season 1.
Yeah. Yeah. We finally get the combination that you're looking for. High adventure, high drama, new aliens. Like, I mean, I know people older than me. I was born in 79. Didn't love the Ewoks. But if you're my age or younger, you love Ewoks, and to you, cute aliens is just part of what Star Wars is.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, so you get Grogu, you get Mando, you've got the Western thing. It's just chef's kiss. This is what we were wanting.
Not tied to a Skywalker or any other character. Yeah, it was great.
See, and this is what they could have been doing the whole time. The Rebels show, the Rogue One, Mandalorian, it's all working, and people, but The Last Jedi, Solo, a Star Wars story, they should be learning. They should be learning.
They're not. Disney never learns about anything that they do. Like that's we can get into an argument with Jonathan May about that, and on Marvel's side as well. Like they never learn. They do not learn from their mistakes.
I always just think of the South Park episode where they had Steve Jobs, and when you did the new license agreement on your iPhone, it meant that you considered it to be part of a human centipede.
The human centipede. Do you want me to eat the vanilla paste or the cocoa fish?
Yeah. Yeah. Then he's just like, why can't I make it read? Because nobody would learn. Everybody just kept accepting the terms and conditions. They're getting thrown into the human centipede. Oh, so that's Disney. But
In a nutshell, yeah.
So immediately after the success of Mando season 1, in December 5th of 2019, this is the very next month in California, in Florida. Florida gets it first this time. We get the Rise of the Resistance ride. And then it opens in California 1 month later in January.
Is that the one that breaks down all the time?
Yes. In Florida and California, the only thing you ever hear about it is that it's always broken. So they're big. You know, they've opened Galaxy's Edge a full year earlier almost, and only has one ride in it, Smuggler's Run, and plus Star Tours, which has been running since the 80s. And got a revamp.
Is why I can't go watch 3D movies. It broke me.
Yeah.
I don't know what. Yeah, it turned me like green, and I haven't been able to watch 3D movies ever since. So,
oh wow. Yeah.
Whatever it did, it broke something in me.
You got to get that Dramamine patch or something before you know.
That's what I'm gonna do because I'm riding it again.
Oh yeah. Star Tours is like I think it's a great ride. So, but yeah, I've gotten older. I have to wear the patches anytime I do an amusement park now. I used to have a
it was just the being on the screen and stuff. Like you put me on a roller coaster, I can do flips and all good kind of stuff. But something got me in that screen, dude. I thought I was going to puke on the ride.
So yeah, they've rolled out Galaxy's Edge. It's a whole year later, and your ride is sequel trilogy based. Again, it's Kylo Ren, it's the First Order, it's the Resistance, and it's always broken. So,
which if that ain't symbolism, I don't know what is.
Yeah, they follow that up. February of 2020, we get now. This was cool. We get Clone Wars season 7. Season 6 dropped in 2014 on Netflix. And that's one thing. Disney gets a lot of credit from people by bringing us Clone Wars season 7, but Clone Wars got canceled under their watch. They're the ones who stopped it at 6. So it's not like George and Lucasfilm had canceled it and they resurrected it. No, they killed it, decided it was a bad idea.
They killed it and brought it back to from the dead.
Yeah. So season 7 comes out. Did you watch any of that?
No.
It was pretty good.
You'll see a reoccurring theme with these newer Star Wars shows and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. You got Ahsoka in it, and she was good in it. And you got, the clones were in it. Some of the guys you gotten to know from Clone Wars, like Rex and all that. And that was good. October of 2020.
That's the season they do the Order 66 stuff, right?
Yes, that goes down in that season, so it's pretty cool.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. It actually played out pretty dramatically because Ahsoka's there and it goes down, and like Rex is there, so it's all pretty cool. October we get Mando season 2. We got Grogu.
Not as good.
Season 2, people are still riding high. It's looking good. Season 2 was where we got Boba Fett was in season 2, right? And that was a cool episode. Everybody
there were parts of season 2 I really liked, but overall it was diminishing returns from season 1. I believe season 2 also had WWE superstar Sasha Banks in it. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. I mean, and here's another. Mando is suffering from the JJ thing. They don't have a plan. We're just playing with toys. We don't have an outline. We don't really know where this ends, And of course, season 2 ended with like probably one of the most universally acclaimed moments since the Vader fight in Rogue One. Luke shows up. He goes through he goes through them Imperial dudes like a hot knife through butter. He takes Grogu and he's going to train him, and it was really cool, So and then we got another thing. Barry on it. Mando season 2 is where they should have ended the story, and it's such a natural feeling. Well, they end it with Grogu. Mandalorian gets Grogu to Luke. Luke's going to train him, but then you got to deal with the sequel trilogy being, ass. You got to do the fact. Okay, he took Grogu. So did Kylo Ren kill Grogu? Is Grogu dead now?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah. What happened? So we follow up Mando season 2 with the cut and paste disaster. It's December 20th, 2020. We get the Rise of Skywalker.
That's all I got.
This is the
at the end of that movie. I just sat there in silence. I was just like, none of this makes any sense. Like, why did they do anything that they did in that movie?
Yeah. Well, because here's the thing: when you're painting the floor in a room, you got to start at the far end and paint your way to the door, right?
Yeah.
If you start at the door, yeah. If you paint yourself into the corner, then you got to walk through the paint to get out of the room, and then mess up the whole house with your paint feet. So that's the Rise of Skywalker. Basically, by the end of The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, you've got a bunch of gobbledygook that's not going anywhere. And they're just like, how are we going to put a bow on this by the end of one movie?
And they don't. They try. Oh my God, dude, they try. But...
Oh, it's just like, and they bring back JJ. And if you wanted to know that he had no plan, you could just, he had no plan.
Oh, no doubt. They were not expecting Rian Johnson.
Rian, yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah, they were not expecting him to just crumple up all their ideas and be like, "No, I'm gonna, kill the past."
Yeah,
and he's like, "No, we gotta. How are you gonna make money off of it?"
yeah. If you kill the past, then what do we do now?
we spent billions of dollars on this IP.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just a bunch of. Now Rey's a Palpatine. Finn still doesn't have anything to do.
No, she's a Skywalker at the end.
Yeah, well, because she identifies as a Skywalker, so maybe they were getting some messaging in early.
Oh yeah, they were. It crawled so the Acolyte could run.
Yeah. She identifies as a Skywalker, so that makes her a Skywalker. But I mean, you're not really going to go around the universe introducing yourself as a Palpatine, I guess.
Well, I mean, here's the real question: like, who asks, like, "What's your name?" No, your last name. Who does that?
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of people in like Star Wars that like don't even. I don't know, man.
You know what she could have done? She could have looked at him and been like, or looked at her and been like, "I don't have a last name." And the lady could have been like, "You'll be Rey Solo."
Yeah. It's like, are you by yourself? Yeah, it's just me. Oh, what a load of crap. And like, she spent like, I don't know. I don't remember The Last Jedi that well. Like, how long did she even spend with Luke? Like, not long.
Like a week.
A week. And he was not nice
to
her
the entire time. Look.
Yeah. He was totally mean and dismissive. I mean, and then, then she spent more time with Leia.
That's true. Leia trained her because Leia's really good with the Force. She just didn't know it.
Yeah. And then Leia's last name is Organa, in case anybody forgot. So
yeah,
she could be Rey Organa, but she spent the whole first movie hanging out with Han.
Yeah, she should have been Rey Solo. That lady should have been like, "Well, I guess you're just a Solo," and she should have been like, "Yeah, I am."
Yeah. So yeah, you just spend a whole movie just pulling stuff out of your butt, and they're like, "Oh, we've already."
They're like, "Let's put the Death Star back in it." And wouldn't it be cool if our main protagonist wanted to have sex with our main villain?
Because
that's my read on it.
That's a theme that they're going to come back to. That's a theme they really like in Disney Star Wars.
We will get back to it. Also,
yeah, they're planting seeds. But yeah,
Anakin,
I mean,
not that important, guys. He was not. He was not chosen. Okay.
yeah, Anakin is just a dude. That's it. He's just some random dude. Don't worry about it.
Anybody can be impregnated by the Force. Anybody.
Yeah, anybody. So it's just it's just such a mess. And they're like, man, well, we've killed off Luke and we've killed off Han, so we'll have Han come back in a fever dream by Kylo Ren. And then, you know, Leia is actually for real dead. And they're like, oh, you know what? We just found Billy D's phone number because we've lost all the nostalgia of this movie. So, you know what? Lando Calrissian, here we come, you know? And
how
you know
jacked up would it have been if Lando came out with a robot? We would all know.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I hope that Billy D got paid a lot of money for that movie.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Because after getting snubbed for the first two movies,
twice.
Yeah. He should have told them to get bent. And I hope that he did. I hope he told them to get bent a bunch of times until they backed up a Brinks truck and paid him to be in that movie.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I hope that as well. Didn't they kill Admiral Akbar in that movie as well?
Yeah.
Or is that the second one they kill Akbar?
No, was he part of that big assault when the people showed up to fight the new Imperial?
I believe so, but I believe he dies. Because I remember being like, well, okay.
Yeah. I can't remember which one he dies in. They just love killing people. We didn't even talk about the
They love killing people and telling you that important people are not important.
Yeah. Which one did they fake us out and make us think Chewie was dead and then he wasn't dead?
That's the third one.
But
they do that they're so crappy with the way they do it because, like, the ship blows up, everybody looks sad. The next scene, they're like, haha, Chewie, they think you're dead. Like, he doesn't even have time to breathe.
Yeah. He didn't get 1 minute to feel like, I mean, why bother? You know, it doesn't even, just.
Also, we find out that Ben Kenobi is kind of a jerk because he totally could have healed Qui-Gon Jinn.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can just kill things with the Force now.
Yeah. So why did he do it? Like, why did he let his master die? I guess he's just a dick.
Yeah, he was like, I'm gonna be the master now. I'm tired of this.
Now we get all the reasons why he's an ass coming up. So
trust me. Yeah, I know we do.
So then we follow that up. May of 2021, we get the Bad Batch season 1, which is a prequel. Yeah, it's a prequel era cartoon with a special unit of clone troopers. I think Order 66 takes place within the runtime of maybe this season or the second. It's a decent show, but by now they've messed up the mainline continuity so bad that you don't really care about these side characters that you cared about anymore, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So like when you were having fun with Rogue One and you were having fun with Rebels, now you're just like, screw you guys. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay. It's salt in the wound time. Okay. December 29th, 2021, we get Book of Boba Fett.
Is this where kind of the, like, and I hate to use this expression, but this is where they start to get more like woke?
Yeah, I feel like it's in there because Boba's not the star so much. They got the what's her name, the woman, the Asian lady, she's like a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing, when they said they were making a Boba Fett show, you just, that's problematic. I know there's a lot of Boba Fett fans out there, but
but you like him because you don't know anything about it.
Right.
It's the mystery.
The more you know, the lamer it becomes.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you were imagining it could be is way better for you than anything that they could like come up and tell you it was. Like,
1,000%.
And so this guy had stayed mysterious since like what was Empire Strikes Back was like 1982, I think, or three.
And he's the best character in those movies because you don't know anything about him. He looks cool, he kicks butt, and then he leaves.
Yeah, he was a mystery for 30 years.
Yeah, exactly. Not anymore. Disney said there will be no mysteries.
Yeah, and now he's just a dude like hanging on a Tatooine, wanting to run a criminal
Not
empire.
even the main character of his own show.
Yeah. Well, it's a crap show until they spend 3 episodes falling around the Mandalorian.
Yeah, you know? Which is basically Mandalorian season 3.
Yeah, and then you get the like a whole Mandalorian episodes, which is just like Star Wars. It's like one of those Discovery Channel shows where they fix up cars. You get a whole you get a whole Star Wars episode of that. You know.
Now let me ask you this: is this around the time that they fire that Gina girl?
Let me think. They fired her. Yes, they fired her after Mandalorian season 2 because after season 2 she was supposed to get her own show.
Yeah, and she made a joke about pronouns or something, right?
Yeah, yeah, she got fired.
Like that.
Yep, and so New Republic Rangers couldn't get made.
That's right, and people got mad about that. So Disney is constantly just pissing people off, it seems.
Oh yeah, which probably they might have had to rush to make Book of Boba Fett because the plan was to make this Gina Carrera show. Yeah, you know, they're like, oh well, we got to make something, and that's what. And I've been arguing with Jonathan about this and Tim a little bit. The problem with Lucasfilm and also even more with Marvel is these are full-fledged film studios and they're subsidiaries of Disney. And the full-time job of everybody there is to make more content.
Yep. Based Not on even quality content, more content.
Yeah. And you have to, whether you have a good idea or not, the full-time job of everybody there is we have to make more stuff based on this all day, every day. And like Lucasfilm was a film studio, but when George Lucas owned it, you know, you could do Star Wars, but then you could do American Graffiti, and then you could do Indiana Jones. And if he had a new idea, you could make something new. But once Disney buys Lucasfilm, they're like, okay, this is the IP that you created before we bought you. This is your sandbox. Make more stuff based on that all day, every day. Just like Marvel. This is your sandbox. If it appeared in these comics, this is what you make stuff about all day, every day. Don't worry about
it. There's no quality. I mean, like everything in the first phase of like Marvel, and I would say the first 3 of Star Wars was so perfectly planned out.
Yeah.
And now there's no plan because it's just like more stuff.
Yeah. More
it's really
stuff.
Depressing.
And so I'm
very depressing.
If you guys, I'm going to give my more stuff rant real quick.
I got time, of course.
Yeah. And it goes back to technology and stuff. The home video was part of it before, but streaming has stolen special. It's taken it away. I
agree with that.
I saw Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, not some stupid movie with the Ziegler girl. The actual classic cartoon. I saw it in theaters. I saw it in theaters when I was 3 years old. And it's one of my earliest memories. I can't believe that I remember it. I didn't realize how young I was until I looked this up. I was 3 and they took me to see it because it was in theaters, not as one of those things that you get an email about because, Cinemark or AMC is doing like a limited release thing. No, it was a major nationwide theatrical re-release in 1983. You know, it was 84. So it was major. And it made it special. And like, I watched The Wizard of Oz every year in December on network television. It was actually January, and it ran for 30 years. And the thing about that is when you do a major re-release for a film in theaters all at the same time, or if something's on TV and there's only like 3 or 4 networks, everybody watches it at the same time. And then you have a national conversation about it. Like, you know, I could have watched The Wizard of Oz last night, but who am I going to talk about The Wizard of Oz with? Nobody.
Yeah, that's true. I get it. And I'll go one. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I'll go one further because I've had this realization with my 2 children. My first movie I went to go see was Jurassic Park. I was 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
And Abigail's first movie, my 8-year-old, was a remake of Lion King. Nora's first movie, my 2-year-old, was Inside Out 2. So now it's just either you're going to take your kids to see a remake or a sequel.
Yeah.
Like all originality has been killed because it's just about putting out content. No one wants to take a chance on something original. It's like that in every form of entertainment, even like music and stuff.
Yeah.
Like just sound like everyone else. Just put something out, and it's frustrating.
And the thing is, I get these excuses when I complain about Star Wars sequels and Marvel putting out too much stuff. They say, well, it keeps it in the public consciousness. You know what I'm saying?
If it were good, it would be in the public consciousness.
Right. And, you know, it keeps it out there so people remember it. It used to be that you didn't have to have new versions and reboots and sequels to keep things in the public consciousness. You know what I'm saying? Like, Gone with the Wind came out in the 40s or 50s, and it was huge for like 40 years. You know,
still is huge.
We all remember The Wizard of Oz. You know, and I know this Wicked thing is coming out, but The Wizard of Oz didn't need a bunch of reboots, remakes, and sequels for people to remember The Wizard of Oz.
Exactly, because it was well done and it was an original idea, and original ideas always stick with people.
Right. And
that's
so
the reason people quote The Shining so much, or people quote Jaws, or you know, because all those are original ideas that aren't carbon copies of something else.
Yeah. And so studios used to be able to monetize these things, these IPs, by putting them back in theaters, by airing them on networks, and they would stay in the consciousness because we would all watch them at the same time. But now that it's all on streaming, now that you can watch something anytime, you don't have to watch it anytime at all.
Yeah, it's not special anymore. It loses its.
Yeah. And you're like, you know, I'll watch it tomorrow. So you never do. You don't watch it again. And then you don't feel like doing it because you're not going to talk about it with anybody because nobody else is watching it. So
that's the only thing that I know where we have a national conversation with 2 things. We talk about the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because everybody watches the Super Bowl. And we talk about elections. Nothing else do we have like a common, like, dude, did you go see Jurassic Park last night?
Yeah.
Have you seen Jurassic Park yet? Wasn't it crazy when this happened in that movie?
Yeah. And that's why sports that's what all the networks fight over. Because it's the only thing, like sports, something about it, you have to watch it live or it just doesn't.
Or it doesn't have the same. It doesn't hit.
It doesn't hit. Like you just, like if you're watching a game that you taped, you just want to fast forward to the end and see who won. You know, that's
exactly.
That doesn't matter. And so, and even television has turned into like Erzat Sports with all these reality competitions, a Masked Singer and Dancing with the Stars, so that people watch it live and react to it. Because all the scripted stuff, there's just so much of it, and you can watch it whenever. So there's no events anymore. You know, so just
I feel like hang on. And just know this.
Oh yeah, the Star Wars is not an event anymore. Streaming killed that from ever happening again. I don't know if there's a way back. Do you think there's a way back where things can be special?
Well, you gotta cut it. You can't put it immediately out on streaming. Like things need to and you need more original content. I think if you had original content, it could come back easily.
Right.
But we don't have any original content left. Like nobody's making anything because all these studios are like, I'm not gonna give you $1 billion to go make your weird shark movie. Give me another Star Wars movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like,
it's why you
doing here.
Yeah. It will, I mean, and I haven't seen the movie, and it's probably bad because everybody said it was. But like 10 years ago, if somebody told you Francis Ford Coppola was going to self-finance his dream project with an all-star cast, and it's about the fall of the Roman Empire set in a sci-fi futuristic setting.
Oh, I haven't watched that either, but at least it's an original. I'll watch it at some point in time because it's original. Like,
but you would have thought that would have been gangbusters. Like that just sounds, it sounds great. I mean, people say it's not, but I can't. He couldn't get anybody. He couldn't get a studio to take it, and he's Francis Ford Coppola.
I know, you know, a legend.
Yeah, and that's why you get stuff like Todd Phillips, who you could tell hates comic books, hates comic book fans, hates everything to do with comic book properties. But he wants to make a Martin Scorsese movie. And the only way he can get a Martin Scorsese movie in theaters and make money is to cram a character called the Joker in it. Now, is that character the Joker? No, it's not. It's a cross between the guys.
It gets even more soulless because the studio's like, you got to make a sequel now. And he's like, I don't want to make a sequel. You could tell you didn't want to make the movie for Joker 2.
Yeah. It's like, I didn't want to have the Joker. Yeah. I didn't want that one to be called the Joker. And it was. Now you want me to do it again?
Yeah. And I feel like that's what's happening with Star Wars is like, there are good writers that are like,
oh, that's Tim's going to bed.
No problem, Tim. I understand. But you get like the only writers that Star Wars can get now is writers that have a more political agenda.
Yeah.
Like if I'm a writer, I want to write my own stuff. I don't want to write fan fiction for George Lucas. And that's what all these new shows and stuff feel like to me. It's just fan fiction for somebody else. Like,
you're playing with somebody else's sandbox. And so
it's incredibly frustrating.
So anyway, we get our Book of Boba Fett and we ride Rancors like horses, and we find out way more about Boba Fett than we ever wanted to know.
It turns out he's kind of lame.
Yeah. All that mystery, he's just a lame dude who wants to hang out in Jabba's palace and be a less cool Jabba, basically.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, you get a low-speed Power Rangers chase through the streets of Mos Eisley, and you know.
Oh, do you ever?
So, okay, this is followed up by what I think is probably the penultimate. This is the greatest summation of Disney Star Wars. Are you ready? May 1st. No, wait, it's not what you think. It's May 1st, 2022. This is a park thing. The Galactic Starcruiser opens.
Oh my dear Lord. I was just watching a YouTube video about this before I came and did this show.
Oh, Disney spends, now some people say somewhere around 300 million, but a lot of the estimates are 300 million, but a lot of estimates are $1 billion. They spend a billion, that's with a B, folks, $1 billion to build a hotel with no windows. It's a big box with view screens, and you got to mortgage your home to spend 2 nights there with your family.
The food sucks. There's nothing to do when you're there.
And they think that they're going to print money with this. They're going to print money with this box with TV screens that costs like, $10,000, $12,000 a night. And again,
but they killed their fan base. Oh, like
Yeah, this is after Book of Boba Fett. This is after the Rise of Skywalker, and where all of the characters, where is it set? What timeline do they choose?
the newer movies.
Yeah, the First Order and the Resistance and the new sequel trilogy, which no one like, and you want people spend over $10,000
on that
to be on like a land-bound submarine.
Yeah, why don't you put it in the Cloud City? Like, why not that?
Yeah.
I don't hang out with Jar Jar. What's Jar Jar doing?
Yeah. Anything other than more of this resistance nonsense. So that opens. Now I'll skip ahead a little bit. That's May of 2022. Let's skip to September 30th of 2023. The Galactic Starcruiser closes. Out of business.
Tragedy.
They just take $1 billion and set it on fire.
They just jokered it.
They just jokered $1 billion on a useless building that they can't do anything with now.
Because it doesn't have windows.
It doesn't. I mean, like, I guess it's a warehouse. It's a $1 billion warehouse. Oh, it's just like you could just tack that. They paid $4.05 billion for Lucasfilm. You could just tack this $1 billion onto it, basically, because they got no return. So now you're $5 billion. I read an article, and sometimes I feel like the media. I'm like, are they this stupid? Or are they just willfully trying to deceive people? That claimed that Disney had earned their initial investment back at the box office because total gross box office had passed $4 billion.
Yeah, but they spent money to make those movies. That's not.
Yeah. The media is like, the movies just grew up from nowhere. They didn't have to pay actors. They didn't have to buy cameras. They just fell from heaven. They just dropped right at their lap.
By the last one, the CGI looked so bad that it looked like it might have been done by like an 8th grader with like a Adobe Pro or something.
And the other thing, the theater chains, they show all the Star Wars movie gratis. They don't want any of the money. Of
course not. I mean,
they give it all back. Yeah. So anyway, they follow up the Star Cruiser. That's May 1st. May 27th, we get Obi-Wan.
Do we ever?
Yeah. With our favorite character, Reva. That was just so great. Yeah.
Actually, the main character of the show.
The actual main character is Reva. And that's like saying did you watch Dexter?
Yeah.
That would be like if you watched the first season of Dexter and found out the show was about dokes. You know?
That's a really good analogy.
There's just one character in a whole show that feels like they're in a totally different show because they're acting, their performance is just 180 degrees from what everyone else is doing. You know, and it's just like,
it's awful.
God. Yeah,
it's so bad.
It's just so bad.
It's so bad.
And they just build all these errors, like he meets young Leia, and it's like at no point do they act like they recognize each other in Star Wars. Like in Star Wars,
no,
you know, she's like, my father told me about you. It's like, you shouldn't say that. She'd be like, hey, Obi-Wan, remember me?
I was a little girl last time you saw me.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. That's that goes back to you got to make Leia super important to the story, more important to the story than anyone else. But that doesn't make sense because it's just gobbledygook at this point. Like they have no plan. They're just like, oh, people will watch this because it's Star Wars.
Just because.
Yeah, because we're Disney, that's Star Wars. We're gonna make money.
Yeah, and it's like they figure like, oh, they won't notice. They won't notice that Leia and Ben should know each other. They were like, well, we need a spunky kid. And they're like, well, we can't put Luke in here because they will notice that Ben and Luke weren't close.
Yeah.
So we'll just throw Leia in there and nobody will think about it. It'll be fine. Okay.
Stupid. So dumb.
So we follow up.
The main.
Yeah. So now we've taken out Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi. They're both not all that great. That we're on a streak now. They follow that up in September 21st, 2022. They make a thing that's good, but they don't tell anybody, and they drop Andor.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, the Rogue One prequel, which is like really like it's good.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah.
But like nobody, people still don't know that that's a thing. They still have no.
I mean, I had forgotten about it, but it was good. I mean, compared, it was the best thing that Star Wars has done in 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and they buried it. They didn't. You could tell they have no idea what they're doing because the best thing they've done in 10, 20 years comes along and they don't tell anybody. So they follow that up is October. They released Visions Season 1, which is just basically we have no idea what to do with any of this. So we're going to have a bunch of anime studios and other places like, hey, what would you do?
Yeah, make our Star Wars for us.
Yeah, make us some Star Wars. It could be 30 minutes. It could be an hour. Pick any era you want. Retell some stories that have already been told.
Go ahead, ruin that continuity.
Yeah. Whatever you want to do.
Star Wars is clearly in a multiverse.
Yeah, multiverse is how you fix it all, man. That is the thing.
Yeah, clearly, multiverse.
It's just so crazy. Star Wars is the type of property, and we've been in this argument with Jonathan. Marvel is the type of property that you built in, you have to reboot it.
Yeah, definitely, because that's what the comics do.
Yeah,
you talked about this as well. Like the comics get too muddled, and then they reboot.
Right, because and there are certain characters. I don't care how offended you get, but there's some characters that are better than other characters and more interesting.
100%. Yeah.
Cap, Thor, Iron Man, Spider-Man. These are the big names.
Wolverine.
Yeah, Wolverine. Yeah. Nobody's showing up for the $1 billion Sleepwalker franchise. That's not happening.
What's Cloak and Dagger up to?
Yeah. I mean, that's just not. And the thing is, if you're rolling out things like Hulk, Thor, Cap, you can sneak in a Guardians of the Galaxy and everybody will go because
it pops. Yeah.
And it pops because they know these other characters, but you can't just be at the bottom of the barrel throwing one obscure character after another one against the wall and expect people to show up for that. So the actors get old, the actors retire, they want to do something else.
You reboot.
1,000%. And they're way past having to do that. Star Wars was the kind of property. Star Wars was the kind of property, if you did it right and you didn't mess it up, you were never going to have to reboot. You didn't have to do it.
Because it could literally go on throughout the entire galaxy.
Yeah, you don't have to follow the same family and tell the same story. You don't have to stay in the same timeline. But they can.
No, you totally do. No one cares about Star Wars unless it's a Skywalker. Come on.
Yeah. Apparently, that's the lesson they've learned as they go away. And the only things anybody likes don't feature any Skywalkers. but whatever.
It's true. But yeah. I mean, I don't think the Acolyte does it.
Yeah. So we get March 2023. We get Mando season 3 because why not keep going and ruin the only good thing you had?
Just run that into the ground.
Yeah, just tank it. Like now you're mad at the fandom. Basically, what's happening now is you're angry with the fans because they didn't like your Obi-Wan show and they didn't like the Rise of Skywalker, but they like this Mando show. So they're like, you know what? You like that? Well, watch this.
We're gonna ruin it.
Yeah. Screw you guys. Then you get the Bad Batch season 2, which is cartoon. You watch it or you don't. Then they follow that up August 2023. You know what? You like that Ahsoka character from Clone Wars? You thought she was cool?
No anymore, you don't.
Yeah, you liked her in Mando season 2? Watch this. Boom. And you know what? For extra value, you liked Rebels. You liked that cartoon that takes place during the rebellion. You like that cool Mandalorian girl that was in that. You thought she was cool too.
No.
Oh.
I hope you enjoy it.
You know, lightsabers don't hurt people.
Well, yeah, I mean they're mean. You can't be mean. It's mean to hurt people.
Oh, and then like if you're not force sensitive, you still get to be a Jedi. And then if you try really hard, by the end, you could fly. You can make people fly. You could do force pushes, even though it's well established that you are not force sensitive at all.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, there are more guidelines to this at this point.
Which makes you feel like the people, the dudes in Rogue One were really missing out. I don't know how they weren't levitating and doing all the Jedi
well, I
stuff.
mean, they should all just start flying. Like,
yeah. I mean, why not? That's what you should be. You should float
do
around
all kinds of things with the Force.
Like, I don't know why Jedi bother with ships. You know, why aren't they all just floating around? Yeah. Why aren't they floating around in space fighting ships with lightsabers? That's what they can do, right?
Leia did.
So,
you know, she and it flew.
So after Ahsoka, shortly after that, that's when the Starcruiser closed. Then we had Bad Batch season 3. And that's February 2024. May of 2024, we get more visions because again, they have no ideas.
Nope.
They got a whole other, like they find some more anime studios, be like, hey, you guys, what's your take? And then comes June 4th, 2024. On Disney Plus, we get The Acolyte.
Possibly one of the worst 3 episodes of television I've ever watched in my life.
We were doing a live reaction show on Bonebridger's channel after every episode. So I watched that thing to its completion.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
And it just like it was bad, and then it got worse, and then it got worse. It's just it shows Disney is suffering now from a few things. They have a lack of commitment. They hate you. They hate their fan base. They want to make things that you're going to hate. But there's still a few people in the room that even though they hate you, they still want your money.
Yeah, well, they want your money. Also, like they're smart enough to pay reporters to be like, if you don't like this, you're a bad person.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, but they got people in the room dialing it back just a little bit. So you start with a concept of an idea. We're going to make a show where the Jedi are just morally bankrupt child abductors who travel the galaxy, raiding innocent lesbian witches' homes and stealing their Force-created children.
Yeah. By the way, that Anakin Skywalker being conceived by the Force, not that big of a deal.
Not that big a deal. I mean, it happens all the time. Lesbian space. Yeah. They're making them 2 at a time. Lesbian space witches throughout the galaxy are making them doubles. They're making 2 at a time. They don't just do 1. They're getting twins, man. They're way better at this. So
I guess that makes sense that Anakin had twins.
And that's the show you want to make, right? You want to make a show where the Jedi are just obvious bad guys. But somebody in the room says, no, you can't do that. That's going too far. So instead of the Jedi just cutting down this innocent woman, she turns into a giant, fearsome smoke monster, and it looks like she's going to kill one of her children. So that's why the Jedi attacks her. But you've already written the whole show where the whole group of Jedi commences on a huge cover-up. A guy is so guilty that he meditates for 16, 19 years without speaking because of the unspeakable acts that you just committed. And,
oh my God.
And so basically you created a show that doesn't make any sense.
Also, it's a real, like, here's the issue that I was seeing. Because I got to, like, I think the 4th episode. And every episode it was the Jedi or the bad guy. So that makes me think if the Jedi are the bad guy, that must mean that the Empire was the good guy. The only issue with that is that the Empire was based on Nazi Germany.
Yeah.
So what are you trying to tell me, Disney?
Yeah, they literally have stormtroopers. They have stormtroopers. George didn't change the name because he didn't want you to miss it. You know? He didn't want the symbolism to get past anyone, you know?
Yeah, we had to hammer it.
Yeah. And so, and here's the thing. I was never going to like a show where the Jedi were bad guys.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
But they didn't even manage to make that show. You muddled that up. Like, you know, it's like me and Tim just watched Agatha all along.
Yeah.
And Tim was never going to like a show about an E-tier Marvel character that's a lesbian witch. I mean, like, he was never going to like that show.
Yeah.
But I was going to like that show. But because they knew Tim wasn't going to like it, they tried to like MCU it up a little bit. And they mixed in, they mixed in 3 or 4 episodes that had the regular MCU tone and, introduced some characters that are going to be important going forward. And this is a low budget show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you said it was a limited series. Nobody's watching it. And like, you could make that show, make it low budget, let the people who want to watch this comedic show about this witch enjoy it. But no, you're like, no. See, Disney won't commit. If you want to make your evil Jedi story in the Acolyte, go ahead and make it. See if you can find an audience for it.
You're going to isolate a lot of your audience. And like they do, Disney's marketing is really weird. Like, we're talking about Agatha. Like, and maybe I'm wrong. I'm not certain you're going to sell a show on telling everybody that it's a gay explosion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, some people are going to be like, I don't want to watch that. Like, I don't care. Like, watch what you want to watch. But, like, if that's what the Acolyte was, like, pitched as. They were like, guys, you're going to love all of this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, none of that seems likable. Like,
yeah. Hey, Josh. Josh, the homesteader, is here. He just made it. Josh has been with us every week.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Josh came. He did not watch Agatha, but he did watch us talk about Agatha. And I was trying to convince him for the first few episodes that it was good. And then by episode 6, I gave up and let him know he was right to have not been watching it. Josh joined the channel and started chiming in back when we were doing our Rings of Power reviews.
Okay, awesome.
Which he always hated. And me and Tim were trying to tell him they were good. And by the time season 2 was over, we were like, Josh, you were right. That show was not good.
There's a reoccurring theme. It seems like Josh knows his stuff.
Yeah, I think Josh should be doing the show and me and Tim should be watching it because he's been ahead of the curve on all of this.
But so is there any hope for Star Wars? Like, where do you have after going through all this, I don't think there's any hope. I think it's dead.
Yeah.
I think we answered our question.
Here's what I just realized. I was at Spirit Halloween. Let me see what Josh is saying. I'm the prophet of bad TV. Yes, Josh is the prophet of bad TV. He's tried to warn us, but we don't listen. I was at Spirit Halloween the day after Halloween. Because I go, everything's 50% off. That was the day after Halloween. So they're clearing out the whole store. And I had been there a couple of times before Halloween to get odds and ends. And it wasn't until that clearance sale that I walked all the aisles and I realized
there
was no Star Wars. Not a single Star Wars thing in the whole store. And then I thought back, Trick or Treat had been the night before or 2 nights before on the actual Halloween. There were Marios, there were Batman, there were Spider-Man.
A couple of Deadpools at our house.
Yeah, Deadpools, Wolverines, which you're like, why are these kids watching Deadpool and Wolverine?
But that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah. So not one Jedi, not one Yoda, not one Darth Vader. No Star Wars anything.
Not even a Kylo Ren.
Yeah. No Kylo Ren. No May. No OSHA. No Smilo Ren, whatever his name was.
Oh, yeah. The bad guy in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Jason from The Good Place was not to be found. Yeah. So, and that's when I think it really dawned on me. Like I texted some people. I was like, they killed it. They have honest.
It's dead.
It's dead because that's what everybody kept telling me. Accept all this garbage content because they're keeping it in the public consciousness.
Yeah, but it's not. Like, nobody cares. Kids, you're back to being a nerd if you like Star Wars.
Right. If I can make it through a Halloween and hand out trick-or-treat candy to like a couple hundred kids, and I can go to Spirit Halloween, which is this huge store full of like, they got a Scooby-Doo section, man.
Scooby-Doo hasn't been in the zeitgeist since what, 2005?
Yeah. When was the last Scooby-Doo project? But he's still in the public consciousness enough. Dude, they have a Flintstones section. Right? You got Fred, Wilma, Barney, Betty. They're all there. All of those are still in the public consciousness because they're there at Spirit Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Adult section, kids section, every section.
No Star Wars.
Star Wars, no. Yeah. So you're not keeping it in the public consciousness. You're driving it out. Yep. Oh, Wizard of Oz. They had Dorothy, Tin Man, Lion, Scarecrow. That movie was made in the 20s, man.
They're about to have a major motion picture come out. And
they're like a month or two. But
it's crazy.
If you would just let it rest, Star Wars was so good. It was not going to leave the public consciousness.
No, it wasn't.
It was never going to go away. And it's like E.T. People still know what E.T. is.
And there's only been one of those.
One self-contained story. Told like over 40 years ago. And everybody still knows what it is. Because it's just that good. You don't have to keep piling out garbage for people to remember. It's sad. But no, they have. They have killed Star Wars dead, and it makes me sad.
I don't think there's a way to revive
it. No, I mean, and that's the other thing. The thing about the Acolyte is you jump back 1,000 years or more, or I can't remember exactly. You're in a whole nother period in time. Back in the High Republic, the High Old Republic, where the Jedis are the guardians of peace and justice, and you don't have to worry about any of the mistakes you made with Obi-Wan or the Rise of Skywalker. You're out of the Imperial First Order. You're out of all of that. And the fact that you screwed it up doesn't matter. You can start fresh in this timeline and make something good. And instead, they just took a big dump in that timeline to where you can't do anything good there anymore.
They Michael Scotted it. They drove their car into a lake.
Yeah.
by listening to writers that were like, no, this is really what we need to do.
Right. So now they took an evergreen franchise and made it to where you have to reboot it.
And nobody's gonna like a reboot.
No. Basically, what you have to do is try to throw out everything they've done and say they need to wait 5 years and try again. They're used to raising canon, so cutting out the bad stuff shouldn't be an issue. That's
a good point.
They need to just take a break, and you know what? They're just be like, psych.
None of
that happened. They need to do like Terminator did, do like Halloween did, do like Halloween
twice.
Yeah, they were just like, all those sequels didn't happen. Those first movies did. We're going to start immediately after that one. And just they need to start fresh from Return of the Jedi on, and throw the good out with the bad, because there's more bad than good now.
There wasn't much good.
Yeah.
Except for Rogue One. Rogue One can still be canon because it counts.
I mean, actually, you know what? You could have kept some Mandalorian, but you threw that out in season 3.
Sure. You ruined the Mandalorian. You killed it. You killed the Mandalorian dead.
Yeah. Out of spite.
Because your fans actually liked it.
Yeah. Screw you if you don't like Rise of Skywalker. Watch what we do to your Din Djarin.
Precious Mandalorian.
Yeah. Yeah, it is so dead, and it's sad. I just gotta mourn for it, because really what they've done is tarnished what there was of it. Like it really does diminish the original thing,
1,000%.
And if you're gonna do something to totally dishonor George's wishes, then give us the original trilogy back. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Get rid of these special editions and let Han shoot first if you don't care what George thinks.
And give us crappy white lightsabers. That's what I want.
Yeah, I just want all the old effects. I don't want cartoon Jabba. You just cut that whole scene out.
Yeah, none of that weird bar scene that gets added in the first one where they're doing the jazz. None of that.
None of
it. Nope. Didn't happen. Yeah. But it's too late. I just don't think you come back from this.
Yeah,
moment of silence for Star Wars.
Let's pour one out. I didn't bring one in here. I can't pour one out in my office.
For the homies.
For the homies. For the Ewoks.
Yeah, I was thinking we didn't even get an Ewok show.
No.
I would have loved an Ewok show, but
I would have watched it, man. They found the old Ewok TV specials are on Disney Plus now.
Ooh.
Yeah, you can watch them. So yeah, that's good fun. Better than the Acolyte. But I mean, give us the Christmas special.
Yeah, that's what I want.
How much worse than the Acolyte can it really be?
It can't be worse. It cannot.
I don't think, and you didn't even make it as it went in. They did character turns not just 2 or 3 times an episode, but 3 or 4 times a scene. You couldn't figure out who the good guy and the bad guy was with a scorecard. May was evil, and then May was bad, and then May was good, and then she was bad, and then she was good, and then she was bad. And they were doing the double thing where whenever May was the good guy, then Osha was the bad guy, and then Osha would be the good guy and May would be the bad guy, and they would just they were just both with no motivation whatsoever that made any sense. They would just, and then you didn't see the they them gerbil. The they them gerbil had a turn that was never explained.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Wait. One more time.
The they them gerbil. There was a gerbil creature that was they them, and it changed sides. They didn't address plot. What's that?
It talked.
It did not talk, but it was sentient. It ran around. It had a pilot's hat.
So they just said it was a they them?
Yes, they said that. There was a line of dialogue where May or Osha, they switched places so many times I can't remember which one, turned to somebody and said, "Who is he or she or they?" And then there was no answer to that question. But
we got it in there.
Since she asked it, from that point forward, it was established that the gerbil creature was non-binary. Now, whether this species, like, we are dealing with alien creatures, so alien creatures could actually physiologically be non-binary. That could be an actual thing. Now, whether or not this creature actually identified that way because it didn't speak is unclear. And if it did, whether it physically really was that way, that's not established either. But in all reviews and writings and everything going forward, it was a they them. Oh my God, the ones with the little blonde girl in it. I had mixed feelings about those even as a kid. The Ewok movies, they're not great, but they're so bad they're good. You know what I'm saying?
They're better than the Acolyte.
They're better than the Acolyte. Everything. Tim's surprised we're still going. No, we got stamina, Tim. We go, man.
Yeah. We're going, dude. We're made it to the end.
Hey, Josh says hi to Tim. Tim, say hi.
Hey, Tim, what are we going to debate next?
Yeah, we need to get Tim debating. Non-binary trooper people must be addressed. We must address all of the non-binary. They need representation because the non-binary gerbils have been put upon for too long, and we're gonna. He's gonna get his own show, I think.
Oh, definitely, 1,000%. Dealing with the real important social issues of the day.
Yeah, to the gerbils' credit, he was a better actor than Amanda Sandberg. That I will say that.
Well, that's not difficult to do.
Yeah, expressed way more emotions. So, but I think we did. We reached the conclusion of our Star Wars thing. We're gonna have to find a debate topic. We're lining up seasonal stuff. I'm still trying to get. I was trying to do the Nightmare Before Christmas before Halloween because I think the topic needs to be: is it Halloween or a Christmas movie?
Oh yes, yeah, it's both.
Okay, Josh Humster, Freddy vs. Jason was both the best Nightmare on Elm Street movie and the best. Oh my God, he's saying that Freddy vs. Jason is the highlight of both of those franchises.
False.
We need Josh to come on and debate that. I'm gonna have Josh. You got to get us, find us somewhere. DM us your kind. I'm gonna have you come on and fight Jason about that. That's gonna be great. That's gonna be
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
One, the best Friday the 13th is Friday the 13th, Part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan. 2, the best Nightmare on Elm Street is Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors.
Okay. I was waiting for you to say Dream Warriors. Dream Warriors. Dream Warriors is the highlight. I got to tell you,
as good as it gets.
The other night I was sitting, I had commenced a Nightmare on Elm Street rewatched a year ago around Halloween time.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked it up again, but again, my wife is squeamish, so I can't have the gory stuff on the giant television when she's home. So I had started Dream Master. I had started Nightmare 4 on Mac when she wasn't home, and I hadn't finished it. And then a couple nights after Halloween, I wanted to finish it because she was gone. It wasn't on Max. It was gone,
no.
Only there for October. And I didn't want to walk downstairs and get the Blu-rays. So I just watched what I could find on streaming, and I watched X. And I'm so sad I didn't walk down and get the Blu-rays because that was just kind of weird. It was not for me. X was not for me.
You didn't like the 2 people in old people prosthetics banging?
No. And was that supposed to be scary? Jason X in space was better than Takes Manhattan. The Takes Manhattan was the first movie I saw boobies in. That was a special place in my heart.
I'm trying to
does
think
give you
when
a
the first
special
movie
place.
I saw boobies in was.
Oh man.
When I was like 5, my dad let me watch Lethal Weapon 1.
Oh yeah. It's fast, but it's there.
Oh yeah, it's cooked out boobies.
Dude, I grew up I was born in 79, right? So in the 80s, like all the movies had boobs, man. There was just boobs in everything.
It's a great time.
Yeah, they flashed by, but like you could like watch some Arnold's Commando. There's no love there.
Got boobs in it.
But they're in a fight and they bust through a wall. There's a chick with her boobs out because
even Howard the Duck had boobs.
Yep, they had duck boobs and people boobs. There was boobs everywhere.
It was a fantastic time to be alive.
Oh yeah, Beverly Hills Cop.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
So, are you gonna find someone to debate? Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yeah, we're looking. So I don't know if we have anybody yet. So we're gonna do Die Hard a Christmas movie?
It's my favorite Christmas movie.
So we might line that up. So we're gonna do Die Hard I want to do a whole series of just called Is It a Christmas Movie?
Okay.
Because you have Die Hard, Gremlins, Lethal Weapon.
Very much a Christmas movie.
And I'm missing some, but I just want to do the whole is this a Christmas movie? And just go down the list. Josh, his parents didn't let him watch a movie, so he had to watch it at a friend's house. See, I was the friend's house, man. We would go to Blockbuster and just rent whatever the hell we want,
Oh, it was a great time.
It was just all horror movies. It was all horror movies, man. We would, and then we couldn't go to sleep. Everybody was afraid.
When I was
I remember being scared shitless by Pumpkinhead. Pumpkinhead had me falling out, man.
Pumpkinhead was great. That's a movie they should remake.
Yeah. We couldn't go to the bathroom after we watched Candyman. We couldn't be alone in a room with a mirror, man. We watched Candyman and we were freaked out.
It's really funny. I remember when Candyman came out. I was probably 6.
Oh,
7.
Wow.
I might have been younger, but I remember watching it and just being like, oh my God, that ending.
Yes.
Where she becomes the candy spoilers. She becomes the Candyman.
Yeah, watch out.
So I hyped it to my wife. I was like, you won't believe this ending. I was like, it bothered me as a kid. And we got to the ending and I was like, that wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I remember watching it as a kid and the ending just freaking me out, man. And I haven't, but I guess he's saying her name.
Yeah.
So as an adult, you probably see it coming. That's the thing.
Yeah. But as a kid, I didn't. But you want to know the best part about that movie that I forgot about? So the scene where I think it's the mental hospital worker gets killed.
Yeah.
He kills the guy by the computer in the middle of the day, and he just yeets out of the window. It's the best scene I've ever seen in my life.
We'll have to do a Candyman rewatch.
Oh, it's good, dude. Dude, commentary tracks. You guys, that's the next thing.
Oh yeah, that's what we should do. We just set up the camera, watch the thing, and it's here, cue this up. It'll be like watching playing Dark Side of the Moon with the Wizard of Oz. It'll be on the third roar, hit play on our YouTube video.
Did you ever do that?
What's that?
Dark Side of the Moon and Wizard of Oz.
Oh yeah, I've done it. Have you done it? I mean,
oh yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, yeah, you got to. I mean, dude, what was it? That looking around at a piece of ground in my hometown. That's when Toto's head pops out of the basket and stuff. You're like, no, yeah. You're like,
when the house hits the witch, the money sign goes off on
money.
Money.
Yeah. Yeah,
good stuff.
It's totally same. They did it on purpose. We all know
better than new Star Wars.
Yeah. Wait, but if you're thinking about watching The Acolyte, cue up the Wizard of Oz and dig out Dark Side.
So much better.
Yeah, way better. All right. Well, I think we wrapped up the Star Wars, but no, we're definitely lining up more debates. We're gonna do Christmas stuff, and we could maybe, we should line up some more horror stuff.
Yeah, I love it. Christmas
Yeah.
horror movies are a treasure trove.
Yes. Yeah.
Watch a little.
We could start with
Santa
Gremlins
Sleigh.
and then just go deeper. You know,
Santa's Sleigh starring Bill Goldberg.
Oh, I just saw a trailer. Did you see the new Jack Black, the Dear Santa that's coming out?
No, I had to check it out.
It's a Paramount Plus, November 25th. It's not a horror, but the kid is a bad speller, so he sends his Santa letter to Satan. And
That's
Jack,
fun.
Yeah, Jack Black is Satan, and he comes to the kid because he gets the letter. So I don't know. That could be funny. I don't know. I know Jack Black jumped into the culture wars, and now,
well,
it's rough.
I mean, he's got time now. Tenacious D's not doing anything.
Yeah,
I'll look into it.
Yeah, I know all about his backlash because people come up and start talking to me like I'm him. So,
you do resemble him a little.
Yeah, just a little. All right. Well, I think we tied it up. And again, we'll schedule. Tim does the scheduling because his schedule is harder than mine. I can do things whenever. So whenever it's good for Tim, that's when I do it. So
okay, that's fine with me, dude. I love coming on you guys' show.
Yeah. So until then,
it's so much fun.
I'm Dan. That's Jason. Tim will be back next week, and this has been Nerd Side Champs.